The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Gate City Chronicles. I'm Kevin Avard, your host. And today we're going to be talking with Gary O'Neill from Rejjee. And I want to welcome Gary to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Kevin.
So, Rejjee,
Yes.
R-E-J-J-E-E.
Right.
Okay, what is Rejjee all about?
Well, it's Rejjee because Rejjee, R-E-G-G-E-E, was taken by Rejjee Jackson. He owns every single, a derivative of the name Rejjee.
Does he really?
Yeah. Rejjee is a business that allows you to, it's a mobile app. It's free. It allows you to register your personal property in what we call a digital vault. Only you know what's in there. All right. So that would be things like electronics with serial numbers, cameras, jewelry. You register it by description, sales receipt, serial numbers, photography, anything else that can identify it as yours. And if they should ever go missing or be stolen or whatever, you file a report on the Rejjee program. That report would then go to the police department, then move on to your insurance company if you so elect, and then it goes to our public mapping feature on the website, which is absolutely incredible. You can search the country on 5 different indexes to find your stuff. If it shows up in a pawn shop, we're going to know about it. If it shows up on Craig's or eBay, we're going to know about it. That's where a lot of stuff shows up. So what we do is, we contact local police, and it's between you and the police. But you now know where it is, and you can prove it's yours. A lot of times, most people can't prove it's theirs.
So before we were on camera, we were talking, how I've had bikes stolen. We talked about that.
2 million bikes a year are stolen, 2% are recovered. That's it.
And now, is this a device that you put on the bike, or is it?
No. A lot of those devices, I call them find it apps. They'll help you go looking for it, but they're limited by range of the battery in their technology. They're RF driven or they're Bluetooth driven or whatever, so it's not very far in range.
Mm-hmm. It's not like a LoJack system that we're talking about here.
The other thing with LoJack, police departments have to buy the LoJack system.
Okay.
So they have to make a major investment. With Rejjee, they have to do nothing. They just write onto our API, application programming interface, write their code onto our code, and boom, they have it for free. We set up a police department in about an hour.
Interesting.
Pretty amazing.
So I buy a camera.
Yep.
A $1,200 camera.
Yep.
On the camera, there's a serial number somewhere or something like that.
Yep.
How do I get into your system so I can register?
First of all, you buy the camera, and because it's a $1,200 camera, most likely your average homeowner's insurance policy's limit is $2,000 deductible. So guess what? You're going to get a hearty handshake, and so sorry about that.
And by the way, thanhanks for using your insurance. Your rates are going up.
Yeah. So what you do is with your smartphone, you'll take photographs of it. You'll enter the serial number. You'll enter the store and the sales receipt. If you bought it at Best Buy or whatever, you'll enter that in there, and you can put some pictures of it on there as well. All right. That all goes in with your identifying information and any other pertinent information that you want on there. That is stored in your digital vault, all right, and you can put as many things as you want in there. It's free, all right, just load it up and whatever you want to do. Then the reason that we give it to people free is our business model is that we make money on the back end. This is really kind of interesting. We went to a bunch of retailers and said, what would you think of having the first opportunity to know that someone had something lost or stolen and they're going to buy a new one? What would you pay for that? It's called customer acquisition cost. Some of the guys pay as much as $90 to get a customer. Our customer acquisition cost is $5 right now. So what we turn around is and we market that back to the retailers and say, do you want to be the first to send a notice of product replacement? And if they say yes, they then get, they put their ad on a letter that if you filed a report, you'd get a letter from us within about 15 minutes saying, so sorry for your loss. We hope you find it. We're going to do everything we can to help you find it. But if you can't, we want you to know that Best Buy has made you an offer to replace it at 20% off.
Interesting.
All right, so we've got it covered every which way we can.
And of course, you sign that release that information can obviously go to the retailer.
Oh, yeah, this is all permission driven.
Right.
Yeah, completely permission driven. If you don't give it to us, it doesn't go anywhere.
Now, did you develop this?
Yeah, I've been working on it for 3 years.
Interesting.
I started out looking at the FBI crime database for another product that I was working on. And of all the government data, it's the best I've ever seen. I was in the advertising business for 30 years. I owned the biggest ad agency in New Hampshire. And I was looking at that data and I said, gee, this is good stuff. But the numbers are really troubling because when I watch TV, they say crime is down. Well, some parts of crime are down, but other parts of crime is soaring. And personal property crime was actually soaring at the time. Now, at that time, murder was going down, but guess what? Murder is starting to come back again. So it all depends on the economic conditions at the time. So I said, well, geez, what can we do to try and solve this problem? And we came up and said, well, a registry, yep, that'd be great. A find it feature, better than the little clicker that you put on your keys. So we created the find it function. And then we said, okay, now product replacement is what makes us completely different. The market share that we're going after is $41 billion a year. Right? That, if we got 100% of that, that would be bigger than all mobile commerce combined. It's gigantic, and nobody's over there. Part of the problem is they don't want to deal with police, right? And they don't want to deal with the dirty side of stolen goods. We don't touch the dirty side at all. What we do is we help the police. We give them the full package for nothing. They sign it, we give them a full metrics data package that tells them exactly what's going on. And by the end of September, we're going to have our API written so that when they sign on with us, our data, which shows up on a map with a pin drop, all right, will be able to be streamed right down into the cruiser. So a cop sitting in his cruiser anywhere in downtown Nashua can see the pin drops during the day of anything that's being reported lost or stolen.
Interesting. So they do a routine stop. They see a bunch of stuff in there. They got a little red flag. They ask, hey, is that your camera? Or they find out.
Some people don't file. Yeah. They don't file insurance and they don't file a report because they basically say, well, I know I'm not going to get it back, so why bother? A lot of folks don't want to deal with, yes, you know, it's a sad statement, but it's not me saying it. But a lot of people say, I don't want to deal with the police whatsoever. So crowd reporting and crowdsourcing of information starts to become a very big idea. And we hit it just right. We're at the right place at the right time and let the crowdsourcing go. Boom.
Does this help you get your stuff back?
Yeah. We recovered our first bicycle in Cambridge 3 days after we offered the product in Metro Boston. So.
And how did they find it in Boston?
It was really funny. The woman put it on Rejjee. She put the notice out on Rejjee, went out through our network. We have 85,000 communities that are involved with us with a program called Nextdoor. Blasted that information out into the marketplace. She happened to go over to Craigslist, and there it was. The bike was stolen. Within 4 hours, the bike is on Craigslist. So if the cops went looking for it, and if they weren't there within 4 hours, there was a good chance it was already gone.
So can't they just erase the file down the serial number?
And a lot of them do that. But boy, that's pretty obvious when those numbers are scraped off that you're dealing with a hot bike. So pawn shops won't touch it. It's a felony for them to know that they are selling something, a stolen good. But their retort is, well, how do we know it's stolen? Well, guess what? One of our notifications every week is the hot sheet. And what the hot sheet says to everybody is, here's what's been reported stolen. So if you've been receiving that information and then you take in a bike knowing that it was on the hot list, you've just, as an organization, you've just committed a felony.
Right.
And if it goes across state lines, you're now into a federal crime.
And it was interesting. Again, off camera, we were talking about the bikes, but you know, we're having a problem with drugs in our state.
Oh, huge problem.
And this is one way they find that they fund their habit or their disease or whatever you want to call it. Sell your bike and gone. They've got it. They got a system.
It's that fast. It's a $40 hit. With the police that work with us in developing it, they told us, they said, look, we need probable cause. We know who the bad guys are, and we know where they are, and we know what they do. But if we don't have probable cause, we just can't go walking in there. So lo and behold, if you filed your report and something's been stolen, now I have probable cause. And if I'm driving along and I see a beautiful camera, Canon EOS in the back of the car, and I know on my screen I just saw a Canon was stolen 3 blocks down the road, it's probable cause.
That's interesting.
So I can pull you over, all right, and then we start talking, and then if you can't prove it's yours, we can nail them. It's kind of cool.
Right.
We don't do it, the cops do it.
Right.
But the cops told us they were great. The New Hampshire Chiefs of Police helped us create it. The New Hampshire State Police were nothing but fabulous in helping us understand how the federal system works. And the National Police Foundation, which is all of the police organizations in the country, all gave us great input. But they all said the same thing. Don't try to be in the find it business. Say that my laptop or my phone says that my stolen good is in your house because I'm getting a signal of some sort. He said the problem with that is you're going to go to the door, you're going to knock on the door, and you're going to meet Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson because you're not dealing with the Chamber of Commerce kind of people.
Right.
So they really don't want people to do that. So we moved away from that technology and moved to the notification, then work with the police. If you have the full breakout of the information and you can really back it up, and you can see that it's been reported somewhere, or they walk into a pawn shop, which they do all the time, all right, and take a look at it, and they see it, then they can act on it. The biggest problem is the internet sales. So we've created what we call the Rejjee digital embargo. What the digital embargo is, notification to all of those guys that that particular item with all those particulars has been reported stolen. If you, now knowing that, resell that in any way, either on eBay or Craig's, they've then just committed a felony. Now, we know they don't want to do that, but they're being victimized these days because nobody polices the internet.
Does that fall under the mail fraud as well, by any chance?
Probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a friend, he had some amazing guitars, and,
Those guitars are stolen all the time. It's
Yeah.
amazing. There actually is an individual guitar registry. There was a rock guy, I think it was, oh, God, I'll forget who it was, but a country star in down south, and just did a great big concert, and he walked off the stage, 8 guitars out on the stage. Some guy walks up, it looks like a roadie, picks up the stuff and just keeps on going.
Keeps on going. And yeah, but when you do sell them, there are serial numbers on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because I have a guitar.
Yeah.
But all those electronics that went with it, and it's too bad. I mean, they apparently stalked him because.
Well, there is a cachet to say I'm playing Keith Urban's guitar, and it's hot. Some people think that's kind of cool. Well, we try to shut that down as best that we can. If you shut off the internet, that's a big stopper right there.
Right.
Our mantra is we want to take $1 billion in stolen goods off the internet.
What are some of the things that you would, a typical person would say, that's not a bad idea. I have this, I have that, I have that. What are your top items?
Jewelry, antiques, appliances, electronics, computer services, cameras, power tools. My son-in-law works for a gardening company, and he's a arborist. He says, this is incredible, when I'm up in the tree working, I can look down below and 3 guys will walk up to the truck and clean it out while I'm up there. Power tools get stolen all the time on construction sites and everything else. And the guys, okay, I got to go to the Best Buy or Home Depot to get a new tool replaced, but it is a pain for them, and it's a big amount of money. We just had a construction magazine feature, Rejjee, first time out that someone's created a lost and identifier product, for that industry. So they're liking it. We stay away from the really hot federal stuff, which is cars,
That you can get a low jack with.
And motorcycles, yeah.
OnStar has some.
But the amazing thing with that is a good friend of mine was a former ambassador to the country of Belize. He's an attorney in Manchester. And he told me, he says, the stuff gets stolen, it gets transshipped down to Florida, gets put in a container, and it's gone in 4 or 5 hours, all right, to South America, or Central America. He says, the background, the black market system is pretty good. We all think that there's a warehouse in a seedy section of town with stolen goods. He says, they don't have time to put it in the warehouse. Everything is organized. My daughter works at Myrtle Beach, director of marketing, and she says 100 bags a day are stolen off the beach in Myrtle Beach. Now, they're on the beach 300 days a year down there. And what she says is it's organized crime, but it's not, what we would consider the big city families. It's the southern crime families, 8 or 9 guys in pickup trucks, very systemized, very organized. Nobody holds on to stuff for very long. It passes through a lot of different hands. So if they say, well, a guy in a red bathing suit with a blue hat stole it, I think, that guy is so far gone by the time that you might have the opportunity to find it. It's all moved upstate and sold immediately.
Right. And so one of their vehicles to unload is through the internet. And
No questions
helps get
asked.
that down. Right.
There's no questions. So there's, for all of the upside of the internet, there's a very big downside on a lot of things.
So when somebody says, okay, I've got this for sale,
Yep.
and this is what it is, and this is the serial number or whatever, that automatically triggers something on Rejjee? Is that how that works?
Yeah, if they put it up, usually if it's a stolen item, they won't put a serial number.
Okay.
Because they know that that's an easy track time. So that's, ID number one. But they'll say, and they don't tell you where they got it. If you notice when you watch Pawn Stars, when they all go into Rick's
always
store,
ask you.
what do they ask you? How'd you come about getting this?
Yes.
There's a reason for that. They don't want to get nailed. So what they'll put up some very basic information in a ridiculous price, and they get it. People buy it like crazy. It's wrong, but they still do it. So we try to intervene on it. The amazing thing is the online resellers went to Congress a couple of years ago and they said, what you want us to do, we can't do. We don't have A, the time, and B, we don't have the technology. Well, I took the 2.5, 3 years of my time, all right, and ended up with a great partner down at MIT. We tested the product, did a lot of the development work at UNH Manchester. We had 15 interns on the project with us. We do a lot of our R&D right there, talk to those guys first, because those kids are really, kids at Nashua as well, but kids are very sharp about technology. They know a lot better than we do. And we spent a lot of time with them saying, okay, look at this and tell me what's wrong. Am I being too old here? Or don't I understand enough to do, what's the language that I have here? What can I correct? All right, we used those guys and girls, and they did a great job. So, a little input here in New Hampshire. The company, most of our investors are from New Hampshire, which turned out.
Is this public already?
No, it's not a public company. No, it's a private company with private equity investors. But we now have hired an investment bank, in New York that's taking it through what we call a Series A round. We're trying to raise, I think it's $9 million the first round, and then hopefully it goes on to about $20-25 million in the second round as it expands out. Our strategy starts in the tip of Maine. I call it the Route 95 strategy. We're going to be all up and down Route 95. We're in Bradenton,
All the way
in
down to the Keys?
Sarasota right now,
Yeah.
Myrtle Beach, and Boston, Cambridge. We'll be reaching out now to fill in the areas, in between. We'll have another office in Washington, and then we'll go further out into the smaller communities as well.
As far as New Hampshire goes,
Yeah.
are all the police departments on board with
No,
this?
the amazing thing, yes and no. There's some structural problems. When police record management systems, which is their software programs, were developed, they were developed almost like a cottage industry. And what happens, a whole bunch of small companies made their own little apps, which they sold regionally to their police departments. You could be in Nashua and put something on the Nashua RMS system, and Manchester might not be able to see it. Or Salem wouldn't be able to see it because they're in a different system. They don't interface their systems. There's no single backbone that they're all logged into. Pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's kind of like Mass actually with their 911 system. I discovered that they're all individual. They're not centralized, and they really should be. So
My
that they can
partner is
communicate.
on the board of 911. It's called NEMA, and they're creating the new standards for the new system. The big problem that 911 has right now is it's about 30 to 40% overloaded. Right? Non-emergency calls go in there. And the perfect example is when the power went out in California a couple of years ago, the Kardashians called up and 911 and said they didn't have their internet and they're in deep trouble and they needed help from the police. I think they need a little bit more than police help. Right? But it shows you what's important to people today.
Well, we've heard stories where people say, hey, look, I went to McDonald's and I didn't get my number one. Help me out. And obviously that's a frivolous call, but I mean that's an extreme on one.
But
on one
a
level.
911 call, we've gone to 911 and said, tell you what, we'll take all of those calls. We'll manage them all through the Rejjee platform. So you don't have to go to Congress for additional funding, which you're probably not going to get anyway. All right, we'll take 30% of your load off your back and put it onto our system.
That's interesting.
All right, it's pretty easy.
Right.
So we've talked with our delegation here and in Washington about it, and they think it's terrific. So we're working with them to try and say, okay, let's get some language inserted in a couple bills. Let's get some push going on. Let's it's going to take about a year or two to get it in there.
Is there something we could do on the state level?
Well, it's going to end up here anyway. Now, this is a private sector solution that helps the public sector.
Yeah.
You generally don't see that too often. It's usually a lot of folks going up there with their hand out looking for money. We're going up with our hand out this way looking to shake hands and work with them.
Right.
So we've met with the governor, and she thought it was pretty nifty. We've met with the state police, like I said, they were great. We have a major, I can't say it this week. If this was next week's show, I could tell you who it is. But there's a major city down the road that has a big problem, and they're about to sign on to Rejjee and then take it out through, through the breadth of their market as well. That's terrific for us, because then that's the start of our 95 strategy. Yeah. We go up and down Route 95. So it'll be New Haven, New York City, New Jersey, down into Washington, D.C., big crime area.
Well, once this takes off, obviously it's going to cut into some of the funding for the drug industry. Obviously, if they're profiting from this is how people.
It might hurt them. That isn't our objective.
Yeah.
But it's another. I hate to sound like Batman. It's a crime fighting tool, but it is a little bit of a crime fighting tool. But more than anything else, it's so that you get your stuff back as best conditions you can. If we can't get your actual stuff back, we know we can get you a discount.
Right.
That you can't get otherwise.
Interesting.
So it works out okay for everybody.
Are there any major suppliers or major companies like Best Buy or Costco?
Yeah, we have 65 companies right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, and they already have established.
So you're good at what you do, obviously.
Well, we've been working on it for quite a while.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, if you looked at our organizational work plan, it's like this. It's a bunch of circles that spread out. We start out, we go off for a bit, and then we circle back all the time and circle back and circle back. But that's how we're linking all of this together. It's just two of us. Our development team is in India. There are 9 engineers over there who work on it. They're all PhDs. They all work on it just about full time. All right, we get stuff accomplished very quickly with those guys. They're great. I ran the program through MIT's Enterprise Forum a couple of years ago, their Smart Start class, and I had 30 guys and women in the room, and for 12 weeks we beat the heck out of each other's projects, and what came out of it was a much better program, obviously. But to hear all those different perspectives was great.
So you have somebody 50 years old, 60 years old. Wow, that sounds interesting. How is it user-friendly? How can I get...
Extremely first of all, it's a mobile app.
And I say 50, 60 because I'm in the 50-year-old.
I'm pushing the latter end of the 60.
I struggle sometimes with some of the stuff on the internet. So just to get it figured out, it has to be user-friendly.
Yeah, it's extremely. If I can do it, it has to be. We call ourselves the grown-up startup.
Okay, there you go.
So I'm a little bit older than you are, though I look good for my age. Yeah. But the reality is, it's a very simple mobile app. It's very few keystrokes. It's very intuitive. All right, when you go back and you start searching, the 5 factors are really easy to work as well.
Yeah.
So I want to say it's so simple a kid can use it, but in reality they can use stuff a lot better than we can.
Oh yeah, we actually go to the kids. How did you do that?
I know.
Whatever. So
I know.
And I'm sure it's going to get worse.
Yep.
So I'm sure there's a website. You go to the website.
www.rejjee.com.
Yep.
All right, we've launched in Metro Boston. We're taking it out through the states. We just did Rejjee Your Ride. We're really targeting on bicycles this summer in New England. Then we'll move down into Florida as well on bicycles, get the bicycle market in, and then we'll start moving into the personal electronics and then jewelry. Jewelry's the toughest one because it's so easy to melt it.
Sure.
Melt the gold, and then whose gold is it? No one can tell.
Walk me through doing a bicycle. Obviously, you've got your receipt. You got a picture of your bike.
Yep.
You
line up everything. You go to your mobile phone. You click on the Rejjee site. It'll come up, and there are 4 steps that you have to do. All right, you have to create an account, who you are. All right, that's only known by you. That information doesn't get out to anybody else. And before that offer goes, by the way, before you get any kind of offer or information sent out to anybody, you have to give us specific instructions, which we keep on file. All right, so this is all self-directed. But you'll fill out the stuff. If something ever gets stolen, you go back and you hit the report icon, and there's 5, 6 questions right there. Was there a gun involved? Was it a crime? Is someone still around the house? The police need to know that if they're going to walk into that situation. We're not 911. We make it very, very important to people. If there's a serious personal property issue going on, or personal safety thing going on, call 911 right away. But if it's a personal property thing, call us, all right, and we can handle that for you. The insurance companies are great guys. We love working with them, but the numbers are really in their favor. The average, the FBI says the average personal property crime loss is $2,060, and guess what the average deductible is in the U.S.? $2,000.
Yeah.
So you're going to get a $60 and a hearty handshake, but they're even going to question. You know, you got to jump through some hoops on that.
So much for sharing the risk. That's
how their business works. They have very tall buildings for a reason. Yeah.
Exactly.
But they've been very good. Liberty Mutual's been wonderful to work with on this. American Family Insurance out of California has been great, you know, as well. They're all for it. Interestingly enough, when you get in talking with an insurance company, you find out something about company management that you never knew before. They have more vice presidents than anybody. Everybody has got to sign off on something before they actually do something. It takes them forever.
That's how they protect themselves.
That's the nature of their business.
They tend to outlast the banks, it seems.
Yeah, but we run every new idea by them, and they always give us their feedback. So it's a good relationship with them. And the retailers, they're happy to get the business. Their customer acquisition cost is so low. I mean, to think about it, Best Buy, every weekend you get a 36-page insert in the newspaper. The entire country gets it. They shotgun the whole thing. How much does that cost them? Whereas with Rejjee, to know that your customer acquisition cost would only be $5 to get that Rejjee customer, and you know they're going to buy something. We're at the right time, at the right place with the right offer. You know, the right time is really important. Yep. Let's say I was a car dealer and I wanted to sell you a Mercedes-Benz. And I said, I want to get it for you want to get it for your wife for Christmas. If you or she bought a car December 1st, before Christmas, their Christmas advertising doesn't do you any good. Okay. But they pay for you as a cost per thousand sitting in front of that television. Tough. It's a lot of waste. Yeah. And coming from the ad business, sure. You know, we you know, the old line about advertising is 50% is wasted. The problem is I don't know what 50%. Coming from the inside of advertising, I can tell you it's about 95% wasted. You know, it's a lot of guessing. Yeah. You know, at least with Rejjee, it's now all, you know, incident based.
They used to say that, like the value pack, you get about 2% return. Yeah. That's huge.
That was huge. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and of course, you're spending a ton of money.
Well, Google and Facebook right now getting 1% is a great day for those guys. Yeah. All right, we're getting 80% conversion, 80% conversion when people see the Rejjee site and then say if they click on it, they will complete the form.
So this is an innovative way to hopefully get yourself at least some kind of compensation if you don't get your stuff back.
Get you somewhat back to normal. Right. You may get it back, like the girl Lindsay got their bike back this weekend. That was great.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Gates City.
Hey, I appreciate having you.
All right.
It's great.
Okay. Well, listen, if there's something that we can, as far as help you get your products back, Rejjee, Rejjee. Look them up on the web. It's a good idea. Until next week, thanks for watching Gate City Chronicles.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching Gate City Chronicles. And we want to thank our sponsor, Avard Cleaning. They've been a sponsor for quite a few years now, and we appreciate them being a sponsor. And if you want to be a guest on our show, contact accessnashua@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your story. Until next week, thanks for watching.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.